And we're back for Doctor Who week. This time we're going to review the Sylvester McCoy story, Battlefield. Now, this was the first story of the last season of the classic era. It was a four-parter. I'm going to state that with the classic ones more, just to kind of get it out of the way. And I don't know why, I was just curious about this, because the description sounded cool. Knights from another dimension come and harass a small village in 1997. It's the future, and it doesn't really matter. Yes, it doesn't look like any real decade. It looks like it could be either 1989 or 1997. So anyway, Doctor and Ace is his current companion at the moment. They land in this village. They go to a local, I think it's like a hotel or something, meet the people there. They meet the owner who dug up something, because there was this whole archaeological site there, and he dug up something from there. Here we meet some of the other people who are around. One woman who's, sorry, their names kind of escape me at the moment, but one woman who is blind, and another who's just into explosives is Ace, and believe me, Ace loves blowing shit up. It's evident in this one, especially in remembrance of the Daleks. That one's fun. Anyway, and I'm going to keep saying that phrase because it's magic. This, of course, gets the attention of UNIT and current Brigadier Winifred Barbera. And through this, we meet Anselin, who is probably the only good character from this other universe we're going to meet. And, of course, through this, we meet our villains, Morgaine and her son, Mordred. And to be fair, all of these actors in this other dimension reek of Arthurian cheesy acting. I'll tell you whether or not that's good or bad later. They all say that the Doctor is. They all start calling the Doctor Merlin. We kind of gathered the idea that in the Doctor's future he'll meet these people and use that identity as Merlin. Maybe it's kind of a confusing thing, and it's never really elaborated on again, because again, this was the last season. But because of this, the battle ramps up with all these knights using laser guns fighting the UNIT. That sounds awesome, but unfortunately, due to the low budget at the time, they just weren't able to pull it off too well and make it look good. But it's... You gotta understand, this was at the time when they really had, even more, they had to stretch a dollar, because the show was constantly, up until it finally got canceled after this season, last few years it was constantly under siege for getting canceled. It was insane. I'll maybe explain a little more once I explain how Colin Baker's run really worked. But suffice to say, this description may make it sound like an epic battle, but it's not an epic battle just by look. And again, you can't fault it. Though and damn it, they try their best. The fights, though, look like a lazily put together stage play. Again, time and all that. This episode's also notable because the first part received only 3.1 million viewers, which is the lowest ratings in the show's history. So, yeah, that could be a problem. But of course, this isn't all alone. This fight attracts the attention of Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart, who is probably a big win for a lot of the classic fans, and even I said, yeah. Mind you, my exposure to the Brig, and that's what we do call him, the Brig, is only from a couple select stories that I've seen so far, but I really hope to see more. I really want to see more unit-based stories, and also it's just awesome to see him in the role. It's kind of upset that he passed only earlier this year as of this recording. So from there, it's essentially a very interesting plot. The Doctor and Ace uncover Excalibur, Ace pulls it out, and Morgaine is on somewhat of an insane mission to get the sword back. She threatens to use her army and the power of a great monster called the Destroyer, which, to be honest, looks fucking awesome. It's a giant blue devil creature that shoots green lightning. Granted, the Destroyer was basically supposed to be, well, a living, breathing atomic bomb. The only problem with him is that, again, this was probably budget concerns and all that, they don't really make him do anything aside from snarling, talking a lot, and zapping the brig once and making him go through a wall. That's pretty much the story. They keep going until Morgaine and her son's defeated, and the Brigadier destroys the Destroyer with bullets. And we go off to the TARDIS, where we go to another adventure, yet again based on Earth. This whole season's Earth-based. This one's not exactly a highly regarded story, but it's not considered the worst. It's, again, one of those middle-of-the-road ones, kind of like Boomtown. Problem is, there's no real considerable problems. The acting on every side isn't perfect, I'll give you that. Morgaine, Mordred, and even Anselin are very cheesy and somewhat over the top, but I take it that's just how they react in their respective worlds. And who knows? You can criticize it. It does get silly. No argument there. But that's about it. However, the performances from the main cast are good as always. McCoy really displays a darker tone than the Doctor just in any incarnation usually does. And that was kind of the theme they were going for this season. Make him darker and darker and reveal something very secretive about the character. Of course, the show got canned, and not even the audio dramas went on to do anything with this. They kind of made him go back to the more jokey Doctor he was in his first season. Ace is doing her best, and here's where I really do believe it. Again, she has great chemistry with McCoy, but she gets to have a friend here who identifies with her in terms of being a woman who violently likes to blow crap up. Hey, someone has to connect. But it's still not the greatest little thing in the world. No denial. Absolutely no denial. And the Brigadier's also giving a good performance, playing the character perfectly. In the beginning, when he's in his garden and his wife's trying to tell him not to go, you just get that feeling that, no, I will never quit. He'll keep... The only way he will stop is if he's bedridden. And that is how I want to remember the brig. This scene, honestly, should be... This is honestly one of those scenes that should be mentioned anytime the character's mentioned. Or anytime you do a tribute to Courtney. He's never going to back down, and he'll do whatever he has to prove it. Another weak character is the new Brigadier. She honestly just comes off more in the lines of, I don't know what's going on, but I'm going to shoot at it anyway. Which is something that's just so, well, weird. For one thing, you think she would at least understand these problems. I mean, I don't know how frequently she's been in alien encounters, but she's not even treating it the way you think she should. She's treating it just like it's some silly game. Eventually she does kind of get over this. Hell, she's even fighting off Nightwhip a sword. But still, her acting's not that good, and she's kind of annoying for the first few parts. And mind you, she's in all 4 episodes. You only start really tolerating her until the 3rd episode. Which means every time she's on screen for the first half, it annoyed me, and I just couldn't take it. The story's kind of run of the mill, though has its fun moments. The dialogue works when McCoy's talking, but unfortunately, once the villains start talking, it's again kind of your mileage will vary in terms of how sick you're gonna get of Morgaine and Mordred, and even Ancelin. The resolution just comes up a little too fast. It's just, we have to stop him. I'll do it, Doctor. No. It's literally kind of resolved. And mind you, this is a 4-part story. Some build-up could have been put, but what are you going to do? It's not It's one of those stories that I'm not suggesting you go out and see. It's not exactly high recommended stuff. It has its problems. It's honestly somewhat odd to look at, realizing that we're trying to make it look, well, honestly, like an action movie, just kind of like Remembrance of the Daleks. But I don't know if they had the money or the performances. Most of the time, it just looks like a cheap theater play. It looks like it could come out of any era besides the 80s. And that's where I'm really going here. It is fun. It has a nice little, somewhat epic feel to it in terms of knowing that they're fighting something against something that fought off King Arthur. And the idea of the Doctor being Merlin was a cool idea, though he honestly just intimidates people. The things that work are pretty much balanced out by the things that don't work. Where the performances are good, with McCoy, Ace, Brigg, and all that, they work. They're selling this off as a true evil and a true danger. I mean, if this were to fail, the Destroyer would, well, do what his name entailed, destroy. Once the Destroyer gets in and they mention what he can do, and I don't know if this is just me doing it, but my mind really does start putting in the sense that, oh no, this is the part where things get real, this is the danger. But the resolution to it's so convenient and easy. They simply go in, the Brigadier loads silver bullets up into a gun. To be fair, they give a somewhat cliched, though still cool, action hero moment where the Brig knocks out the Doctor to supposedly sacrifice himself, though he lives. I'm not entirely against that. I've seen some people who were kind of upset that the Brig didn't die. And I don't know what to tell you on this one. I would have been happy either way. It would have been him dying, living one last moment of heroics before he finally, well, bit the bullet, for lack of a better term. But still, it would have probably made me feel better that he gave his life to defend the world from utter destruction. Yes, the monster didn't exactly show us. It was more in the lines of people saying he could do this. And I think that's and that again is the reason it's defeated. But still, it would have given a great moment for the character. Then again, if all those Sarah Jane fans couldn't get that cameo from him in Sarah Jane Adventures, so I guess it's a win-win. Bottom line, I wouldn't exactly recommend this as one of the best stories, but it's one of those that's, at least to me, fairly watchable. If you get your mind in the right, you have to get your mind in the right set that something big is happening here. And honestly, though it does look kind of cheap, you do kind of buy into the battlefield aspect of it, of the knights fighting the unit soldiers.